Hey there, YouTube. I'm Bubbins, and today I have a question for you. Does your Final Fantasy XIV look dull and bland? Do your flowers lack color? Are the skin tones gray and ashy? Then boy, do I have news for you.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Okay, that's enough of that. Today I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite GShade gameplay presets. Honestly, you may look at some of this footage and be like, what's the big deal? Anyone can tell the game looks a little better, but is it worth all the effort involved with installing GShade? Honestly, I must insist the answer is yes. I genuinely can't imagine going back. Without it, the world is less vibrant, the outfit's less colorful, and it becomes a lot harder to take really cool screenshots. More on that later this week. But for now, let's dig into some of these shaders. Throughout the gameplay, I'll be toggling them on and off so you can see what kind of difference they make. I'll introduce each one with some comments and then leave the gameplay to speak for itself. Use the chapter markers when you're ready to move on. The first preset is the one I'm currently using, Ipsusu Gameplay Pastel / Melon. Either of the two, they're pretty close. I will wholeheartedly admit that this is a really high contrast shader, which isn't for everyone. However, it makes for the most gorgeous nighttime and environmental shots and has incredible ambient lighting. Just look at these shots of Ul'dah, the color of the water, the soft lighting, it all feels so good. And then when I flip it over to nighttime, it looks even better. It's honestly these nighttime shots that I keep the shader on. During the day, it isn't always optimal, but at night, the game looks absolutely incredible. Next up is Yaz Gameplay Boost, which I still think makes a big difference, but isn't nearly as extreme as the Ipsusu shader. This is essentially the mid-level shader. It does the usual things like adding color and pop. It also adds some important depth to the characters and brings shadows to clothes and faces. Now this is a shader I actually haven't used, but I do know that some people prefer warm colors in their games. And if you're going for a warm shader, try my colorful gameplay light. It brightens up a lot of the red and warm colors, making the game as a whole feel less cold and bland. You can see here when I go into the Rocktika Greatwood, how it really does make the soil colors much warmer while still adding some cooler colors to the water. If you want brightness, Okami gameplay is for you. It has less contrast than Ipsusu's while still bringing a ton of color without being overpowering. Again, this is another shader that really shines at nighttime when the light sources pop with all of that color. Even in some of the more bland areas of the game, it really helps. And then when you go to Lakeland, an area known for a ton of color, the difference is night and day. If all of this is too much for you and all you want is a sharper image with slightly more color, give Leeja Gameplay a try. You can see this with the vendor in Crystarium that the difference really is minimal, but it still helps a ton. This is the shader I used for nearly my entire first playthrough of the game, and it's a really solid starting point. Later on, you can swap things up for some more aggressive changes like the 4 shaders we just talked about. The good news is most shader presets have a number of options including warm, cool, etc., so you can find the right tweaks that are optimal for your character. If you don't know how to install GShade, check out the description below for a link. And if you're worried about getting banned, don't be. A ton of folks use it. This is what Square Enix had to say back in 2013. Utilizing such a tool would not violate any agreements customers have with Square Enix, and we don't plan on doing anything to restrict users from accessing it. However, we advise that players use this at their own risk. Square Enix does not regulate the content of the aforementioned add-on and will not be responsible for any damages or losses resulting from its use. As a whole, the rule in Final Fantasy XIV is just not to talk about it in-game. Don't go around talking to random people who might report you, and you should even be careful talking about it in party chat and stuff. Keep that to Discord for the sake of your account. Don't even risk getting banned. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to leave a like or subscribe. As a small channel, it really does make all of the difference. And if you want to directly support the channel, there's a Patreon linked in the description below. For now, I think that's it though. I'll see you next time.